Carrying Appendix is arguably one of the most popular carry methods in recent years, but getting into Appendix carry can be a little tricky for most. For someone that's been Appendix carrying for a little over 4 years now, I've gone through my fair share of trial and error, and I've made plenty of mistakes along the way. So I'm making this video so that you can learn from my mistakes and hopefully prevent yourself from wasting too much money and time. That way you can get back to your daily routine while minimizing discomfort. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you're purchasing a quality holster. I can't stress this enough. A quality holster makes a huge difference. And I'm speaking from experience. I know we all want to carry and not have to break the bank to do so, but there is some diminishing return where you opt for a holster that isn't engineered well. You really want to do your research and look for holster companies that are putting some thought behind the design of their holsters. Now, the company I found to work best for me is Tier 1 Concealed. I have no affiliation with this company and they probably don't even know who I am. But I've been running their holsters for years now, and I can confidently say their holsters are quality. For the most part, I run their Axis Elite as my daily carry, but I do have other holsters by them that we'll touch on later on in this video. Before we get too far in the video, I'd like to say thank you to our channel sponsor, Obsidian Tactics. Obsidian Tactics is an online retailer that offers a curated selection of high quality and high value products that have been vetted throughout the two-way community. A lot of the items that they offer are well-known brands that you may already be looking to purchase. So go visit Obsidian Tactics for all your two-way needs and wants. I also want to thank my other channel sponsor, Aura. As some of you may have heard in my previous videos, I work in the marketing industry, and this forces me to work with a variety of companies all over the country. Each company has their own software they prefer to use, and not all of these programs necessarily protect and secure my personal information. And this is where Aura comes in to save the day. With Aura, I'm able to stop the spam calls as well as stopping scam calls from ever getting through. They also manage all of my online security, which is something I've pretty much neglected for the longest now. This service goes far beyond those other basic security services that you see widely advertised. And that is because Aura scans all the data brokers that may have your information and will send an opt-out request on your behalf. We are in the 21st century and we need to take online security more seriously. Sign up for Aura to gain access to features such as alerts when your sensitive information is at risk, a password manager, and up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. So if you are ready to beef up your cybersecurity, use the link below or visit aura.com/concrete cowboy to try their 14-day free trial. Or you can use the QR code right here. Protect your identity and check out Aura today. All right, back to the video. So the reason why I say that these guys have a quality holster is because this holster comes with a plethora of features that make it really easy to conceal a firearm. First off, the Axis Elite is a sidecar design holster. This means that the holster will hold your firearm as well as a spare mag. And what's really cool about the magazine attachment on the holster is that they use a bungee cord-like material to interface both halves of the holster. And I really like this because when this is pressed against your body, it allows for the holster to conform to your natural body shape as opposed to being one hard piece of Kydex with zero flexibility. Now, Appendix carry is inherently going to be uncomfortable to a certain degree, but with innovations like this, you can minimize how much discomfort you feel throughout the day. And once you carry long enough, you really don't even notice that much discomfort. Another cool feature about this holster is that the belt clips are adjustable, so you can raise and lower where you want the holster to sit in your waistline. This is very important because everyone has their own variation of a draw, and a holster position that may work for you might not work for somebody else. For me personally, I like to have my holster a little higher just so I can get a consistent and positive purchase during my draw. But if you want to maximize concealability, you can raise the clips higher so the gun sits lower in your waistline. Another cool feature that Tier 1 includes with their holster is the concealment wing. This wing will push against the inside of your belt, helping to bring the heel of the pistol grip closer to your body. And for those that aren't aware, that part of your firearm is the most likely part to print in your everyday attire. So having that feature built into the holster is pretty convenient. Starting with a quality holster will give you a leg up in the comfort department. And when you start adding some of the other tips in this video, you'll start to realize how comfortable Appendix carry can be. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is get a nice sturdy belt. And I'm not talking about a thick leather belt. You want something that's going to be able to maintain the weight of your firearm, spare mag, and your pants. What I usually suggest to people when it comes to belts is the Core Essential belt, mainly because they have a lot of adjustability with their ratchet system. How loose I want my belt to be depends on the activity I'm engaged in. And this is because my belt size standing up is going to be different from my belt size when I'm sitting down. So having easy to use adjustability has become my best friend for comfortable appendix carry. There are other belts you can use like the Hunter Constantine belt, and that belt utilizes elasticity to provide comfort when carrying. But I found that even with the elastic band in the back, sitting and moving around was still somewhat uncomfortable due to the constant pressure in the pelvic area. With the Core belt, I can loosen the belt as much as I want to relieve the pressure depending on what I'm doing. But regardless of what you go with, you need to make sure it is very sturdy. If you don't have a belt that can support that weight, then you're gonna have to rely on your lower back to compensate. And I think we can all agree that lower back pain is something we all want to avoid as long as possible. All right, so you have the holster and the belt, but what about the pants? I think this is probably one of the most asked questions I get on my channel. What pants are those? So I'm going to start off this section talking about what to look for when buying pants, and then I'll tell you guys some of the pants I would recommend and that I wear on a daily basis. When you're looking for a pair of pants that you're going to integrate with appendix carry, you really want to pay attention to the waistband. I opt for pants that are very stretchy in the waist area, and the reason for that is to make size purchasing as easy as possible. When I have jeans that don't have elasticity in the waistband, I typically have to buy a size or two bigger to make up for the extra space of carrying a holster and a gun. And I don't discredit that method because that works pretty well. But when I have an elastic waistband, I'm able to buy my true size and prevent me from having baggy pants if I happen to not be wearing my gun that day. And yes, there are situations where you will not be able to wear your gun. Going into federal buildings, courthouses, and inside schools will prevent you from doing so. But other than that, I typically have my gun on me. So a brand that I typically buy from for my EDC pants is Wrangler. They have a ton of different jean options that have elasticity in the waistband, and their jeans and pants are typically stretchy in the thigh area. This allows for a well-fitted look without any of those other restrictions. During warmer weather, I typically wear the Wrangler outdoor pants, and in cooler weather, I'll opt for their Ultra Flex jean. This is just my preference, and I'm not saying that you have to go this route, but I do like the way these pants look, feel, and operate. So acquiring some good stretchy pants will bring yet another level of comfort to your appendix carry experience. If you're a returning viewer on my channel, you'll know that I carry an M&P with a Surefire X300 Ultra. And this is a pretty lengthy setup, and I can definitely tell you it's not the most comfortable setup for appendix carry. So in warmer months, I typically switch to my M&P 4¼ inch without the weapon mounted light. And this is because when you remove the weapon mounted light, it subtracts a good amount of length from the overall signature of a handgun. Now, there's an argument to be had about not having a weapon mounted light on your firearm. And for the most part, I do like to keep it on there majority of the time. But if I'm looking for the most comfort and maneuverability, removing the weapon mounted light is something that I'll tend to do. And because of this, I actually have another holster from Tier 1, and this is molded to my same M&P without the weapon mounted portion. This is the Xiphos Elite, and as you can see, it's very similar to the Axis Elite holster. But one key difference is that it isn't a sidecar style holster, meaning you won't have a spare mag attachment on this one. And this really condenses the overall package for your carry gun. You will have most of the same features as a Xiphos Elite without having to sacrifice real estate in your waistband. And I found that this gives me more flexibility when it comes to my wardrobe and various conditions. You'll still have the same quality and sturdiness as a sidecar holster, but you won't have as much of the bulk. And that's actually my last tip when it comes to appendix carry. Try opting for a holster that doesn't include a mag carrier. Having an extra mag is nice, and it will bring some peace of mind for a concerned citizen. But an extra mag can be stored in a variety of different ways. Some people will just use an extra pocket in their jeans to keep reserve ammo available. So don't think that giving up a sidecar style holster is going to limit your options when it comes to ammo availability. If you're on the road to obtain the most comfort, consider removing a weapon mounted light and a spare mag carrier if at all possible. It'll cut off a good amount of bulk and length to your carrying experience. Well, I hope these tips really help you in your appendix carry journey. Inherently, any form of carry is going to be slightly uncomfortable due to the fact that you're putting a firearm on your person. Just remember the reason you decided to carry. You want to be able to protect yourself and your loved ones when push comes to shove. So make sure you're not only carrying, but you're training to draw from your preferred carry position. This will equip you to have the most favorable outcome on the worst day of your life. If any of you guys have any more tips on how to appendix carry more comfortably, leave a comment down below. I'm sure there are many more ways to make the experience more pleasurable, but I wanted to go over these few tips just because I think they need addressing. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.